Welcome to Cutting Edge.
Today we are going Greek on you.
We're gonna make the ultimate Greek recipe, moussakás.
And for the record, it's not moussaka, it is moussakás.
Keep watching.
Moussakás is a layered food with vegetables in the bottom, meat sauce in the middle and bechamel on top. And for this we have aubergines and potatoes. We're going to start with the aubergines to clean off the tops here. And then we're going to cut them lengthwise about this thickness, because traditionally these would be fried in oil, but we are going to do a little bit more healthy version. So we're going to do them on the barbecue, so we avoid oil that these will suck up. Once we have them like this, I'm going to lay them out. I'm going to give them a small drizzle of olive oil. Spread that around a little bit. And then a little bit of salt. Don't over salt them, but they need to sweat out a little bit here with the salt. Continue with the next. While our aubergines, they're resting and absorbing the salt, we're moving on with our potatoes. Have here four to six potatoes, depending on size, for 2 kilos of meat sauce. We're going to cut them lengthwise, a little bit thinner than the aubergines, like this. And we're going to put them on a sheet of baking paper, because we are going to grill these in the oven, so that also here we avoid the deep frying of them, and we avoid a lot of oil. When you filled up your oven pot, we're going to do the same as the aubergines. We're going to give it a drizzle of oil. And spread that out a bit with our brush. So they all get a little bit of a coating. Something like that. And then we're going to give it a sprinkle of salt. And then we're going to put them in the oven on the middle rack. I have the oven running at 200 degrees, and we're going to bake them here till they're golden brown. That will take 20-25 minutes, but keep your eyes on them. While our potatoes are in the oven, let's get our aubergines on the gas grill. As you can see here, they've sweated out nicely, so they have absorbed the salt. It's about 15 minutes on the table. Now let's get them on. I have the gas grill running, all 5 burners on maximum, so we can get some nice sear marks on these and some flavor.
Well, that's a very nice twist for the moussaka.
Yeah, and we put some barbecue into this. I like that.
Yeah, mix and match.
No, but it gets too heavy if you fry them in oil. It becomes very heavy, the
No,
moussakás.
I can't eat it. And I hate when I go to restaurants and they have such an oily moussaka that runs around on the plate. It's horrible.
I don't like it either, so
No.
this is a lighter version.
It has to be flavored, but light.
Exactly.
So, you know, you don't feel like you ate stones after.
True, that's true. Let me see if I can get room for the last ones here.
Hey, you can manage.
There we are. Let them go for 5-6 minutes before we flip them. Let's see how they're doing. That's what you want to see. Don't take them further than this, but you want to have some sear marks there that gives a lot of flavor. So
It smells
this is
actually
perfect.
really nice.
Oh, it smells good.
And aubergine is so much better when it's on barbecue. I mean, you find it quite boring as a vegetable, right?
Yes, I do. But I don't find it boring in
it's
moussakás.
perfect. No, because moussakás is the perfect food.
True. So we'll flip all these over, and then we give them a couple of more minutes, not more, because we don't want them to become too soft. Let's see how they're doing, if they're finished. Yep, they're perfect.
Babies are done.
Let's get them off. If you leave them like that, then they have a tendency to get very saggy before you use them. So better put them on a cooling rack here, so they have air all around. That will keep their shape much better when we have to build our moussakás. Our potatoes, they're ready. Let's get them out. You want to cook them till they look good. Golden brown like this, but don't cook them too much because they still have to cook further in the oven.
You see, you don't need to deep fry potatoes to make fried potatoes.
Absolutely not. Now we want to take them off and put them on some paper so they don't get saggy. Looks very good. But exactly as you said, you don't have to deep fry.
That's the best way actually to make French fries, let's say, but in a light way and more healthy.
It's definitely our preferred way. That doesn't mean I'm not deep frying things.
Yeah, I know you want to buy a deep fryer now.
I will, of course I will. I need it in my kitchen. We are done with the ingredients for our bottom layer. For the middle layer, we have here our beautiful Greek meat sauce. There's a link down below how to make that. It's excellent, we will show you. And now let's move on with the top layer, which is our bechamel. And we're going to
magnificent bechamel.
Magnificent bechamel, yeah. And we're going to show you a fail-proof way how to make that. First, let's get our gas running on low. We don't want to have too much heat here. And then we're going to add half a kilo of unsalted butter. We're going to salt later. And now we're going to let that melt. And we have it on low because we don't want it to fry or burn. We only want it to melt. When it's done, we're going to add our milk. We have here 3 liters of almond milk that we're going to add. We prefer almond milk, not because of any other reason, that it gives a nice flavor to the bechamel. Obviously, you can use any kind of milk that you prefer. Now we're going to let this warm up a little bit till about lukewarm, and then we'll continue. Time to start adding our flour. That's the only tiring part of this process. I'll show you. I have here 700 grams of wheat flour that we are going to add spoon by spoon while whisking. And actually this is how this is fail-proof, because this will ensure that your sauce doesn't get lumpy. You just keep whisking and add flour slowly. And you will keep doing that until you have the right consistency.
Creamy and delicious.
Creamy and delicious, that's for sure. It will take 10-12 minutes to get there, but it's worth it. Before it gets too thick, we want to add our spices. I have here 3 ground whole nutmegs. They are freshly ground in our coffee grinder. It's easier than doing it on a microplaner. And we're going to whisk that in. That smells nice. You can adjust that depending how much you like. We like a lot of nutmeg. If you don't like it,
I can even smell it here.
Yeah. And then we want to add for now at least 2 teaspoons of sea salt and a good round of freshly ground pepper. Let's stir that in. And then when it gets a little bit thicker, we'll do a taste test for the salt and pepper. When you reach this nice creamy consistency, you see here, your sauce is perfectly done. And now I'm going to show you a small trick. For your meat sauce, you want to add a couple of spoons of bechamel. Let's say 2, maybe 3. Let's see.
You're stealing that away.
Yes, because that will make sure that the layer of meat sauce will be standing and can keep itself, let's say, hold up when you have the layers.
Yeah.
So we're going to mix that in here. Maybe I'll steal 1 more.
Oh, it's a clever trick.
Yeah, because that gives a little bit of, let's say, strength to the meat sauce. I will give it 1 more. It needs it. Like this. Perfect. Now we're ready to build. Time to assemble. I have here an oven pot with quite high sides. You want to choose that over a low-walled Pyrex because otherwise it's going to bubble all over your oven and that creates a mess. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom. I'm just using my fingers here to spread it. Like this. Nice. And then we start with a layer of our potatoes. Make sure to cover the bottom pretty good.
Make them to overlap also.
Yeah, a little bit so that you
Yeah.
don't have too many holes. Use the small ones to close gaps like that, of course. When the bottom is fully covered, we're going to move on with our aubergines, and we're going to do exactly the same, creating a nice layer. And here we want to make sure it closes completely, because on top of this, we're going to add the meat sauce, and we don't want it to run too much through. But see, this with the cooling rack works excellently because they're absolutely not saggy. They're holding up the aubergines, so that's a trick you need to remember. I think that looks pretty solid with that one there. Then now we move on with our meat sauce, and we're going to make a nice thick layer. Don't be stingy here.
No, don't be stingy. This is where all the flavors are, and the spices, the onion, the garlic in the sauce.
Exactly. That's where we have
Put
all of the
plenty.
nice. It would be good and luscious moussakás, that's for sure. I think we are about there with a good thick layer, right?
Yeah.
Then let me move this aside, and then I can continue with our bechamel. And again, the same applies. Don't be stingy.
No, you see why we need that high wall pot here.
Yeah, exactly. But be careful here that you just fill it up and don't start moving it around, because then you will mix it in with the meat sauce. So just layer it on top like this, and then we will smooth it at the end. I will show you. When we created a full layer of bechamel like this, we're just going to smooth it out carefully so we get a nice even surface for browning. So I smooth it out like this. That looks really beautiful.
You're an artist, baby.
Thanks. Cooking is an art.
Yeah.
That's true. There
Was
we
very
go.
good.
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah.
And now it's time for the oven. I'm going to put it in the middle rack. I have the oven running on 200 degrees. And we're going to put it in and let it bake for, let's say, 30 to 45 minutes until the top is golden brown and bubbly on the sides. Well, it took actually good 50 minutes because we made it quite luscious. But now our moussakás is ready. So let's get it out and I'll show you. This is a beauty. And look how it's bubbling on the sides, and that's the color you're going for. But
That
now,
looks amazing, actually.
and it smells so delicious. But now, this needs to rest for at least 2 hours before you're able to cut into it. It needs to set so that you can cut nice pieces.
Yeah, otherwise it's gonna fall apart
Then it will
like
fall
crazy.
apart completely.
Be patient.
Be patient. Ready to taste our creation?
Dig in, honey. That's a kick-ass moussakás. Who says you can't taste grease whenever you want?
It's very good, and by grilling the vegetables, it's so much lighter. It's perfect, actually.
In fact, it's that good, you can fire your therapist. Cheers.
Cheers.